Good morning. This is White Raptor News. Okay? I've been telling people for a long time that we live in a 666 system in what's called duality. Okay? This is a plane of existence of good and evil. For the longest time, I've had it in my head once I came into this truth that there was nothing that was good on this plane of existence. And I'm wrong. I'm not right by saying that there is no good on this plane of existence. I'm saying that there has to be good on this plane of existence. But good is being consumed by evil, by silence, by the internet, from them suppressing comments and cutting you down and shoving their LBGTQ&A material down your throat. Now we're going to be reading from Deuteronomy 22 today. But before I jump into that, I don't know why this came to be, why it entered my head, why I asked the question. I asked the question because it popped into my head that my daughter had told me that my sister here, Charisma Carpenter, is living at home with her father. Now, this is a multimillionaire woman. Let me tell you, folks, when you come into large sums of cash and it just comes so easy, you work for a month and you get paid $40,000, something like that for a month. You make in 1 month what somebody works all year for, or even more. You have no concept of money. Okay, you must understand that somebody who makes big bucks does not know, most times, women especially, do not know how to manage their money. They have to pay for managers to manage their money for them because they have no concept of it. Okay? So here, what do we have? This is Henry Hubbard right here. This was a San Diego police officer. All right? There's a lot of reasons why I hate the government, folks, and they're all valid, they're valid reasons. It's that simple, So this cop here, Henry Hubbard, probably about 30 years ago or so, I don't remember the exact year, probably 1990, if I think hard enough, 91, somewhere around there. Okay, this guy had been in San Diego County, and he was a sergeant, and they were setting up sting operations because this guy was raping women, and he was progressively getting more violent with each crime. Before, he was just raping the women and he'd be on his way, he'd tie him up, but then he started getting where he was tying the women up in front of their mates and husbands and stuff like that. And that's how he eventually got caught. Was my sister here was on a beach with two of her friends. It was after midnight, or maybe post midnight, or just right after midnight. I don't remember. You can go read the story yourself. The reason why that I'm even bringing all this up is because of the question that I asked this morning. Is what was the last movie, my last production, that any kind of work that my sister had done? Because I don't think that she's doing anything right now. She may have dropped out of Hollywood, and if she's done that, man, blessings to her, man. If she's withdrew from that crowd, more power to her. I wish her well if she's done so. If she's repented and she's trying to straighten out her life, realizing that those people in Hollywood are demented, evil people, then, good for her. He had 5 victims, okay? The last victims that he tried was my sister with their 2 friends. He had my sister tie up one of the friends. She leaves the binds loosely and the cop asks her to tie up the other friend, and my sister says that she can't. She's too cold. She's too nervous. So the cop hands her his police issue flashlight. This is what's trippy about stuff. Come on, folks. And it's got his name on it. His police issue flashlight has his name engraved on it. So he hands my sister his flashlight, and then the first person, as he's tying up the second person, gets his binds released, and then they get into a struggle, and then shots are fired. Both men end up getting shot, and while the struggle's going on, my sister flees. Well, she flees with her hands, with his flashlight, and she runs as far as she can until she finally gets to an AM/PM market or something like that, and then she calls the police. And it's then she looks down and she realizes that she has his flashlight and his name's on it. So that's how he got caught. 25 years in prison, 25 years to life. He's been in there for about 25 years. And every time they go for his release date, naturally my sister, she's there to make sure that he doesn't get out ever. So anyways, the only reason why I brought you here is because he has 5 victims. She stopped him before he could make her number 6. Because you know what this channel here teaches, right? We teach 666. Now, when I asked the question this morning about my sister, okay, these are the movies that she's played in: Cordelia, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, spin-off series Angel. That's with Tony Barroso. And I don't, listen, this is what's really strange about it. I've never followed anything that my sister did. Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes and stuff, but it was never like the way that my mother, I mean, my mother watched everything that my sister produced. So, but what I found this morning when I came to this, and it's a lie, okay? When I read this, I was completely astonished that I was met with this lie. Right? And it says Carpenter was born in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is true. That's where I was born, Las Vegas, Nevada. The daughter of Christine, that's my mother, her first marriage now. My mother's maiden name was Christine Whidden. And her first husband was is my dad that I'm living with here right now, my natural biological father, who's 86 years old now. My mother, she took that COVID shot, and then she died 2 months later. All right, the daughter of Christine, and then the last marriage that she was in was with Don Carpenter, and Don Carpenter is Charisma Carpenter's father. Okay, he was my stepfather. But when I was reading this, I was blown away. The daughter of Christine, a bird sanctuary worker, and Don Carpenter, a salesman. These are true. My mother was never a bird sanctuary worker. She was a casino girl. She wore those short shorts, climbing up her rear end with her tits pushed out to the world just like everybody else. Look, if I'm going to condemn this kind of behavior, then, you know, as much as I forgive my mother for anything that she ever had done, she still was wrong in a lot of her behavior as a mother growing up. Looking back now, with the scales on my eyes, I never thought anything differently of it. A bird sanctuary worker. My mother was a bird sanctuary worker. Now, when I read that, I was astonished. I couldn't believe it. She's been nothing in her life but a casino girl. She did after she started dating Don Carpenter here. You know, he did pretty well at the casinos. He was a pit boss manager and stuff, and they managed to save a lot of money. And then he got into real estate, and he did really well with it. And then the bottom of the real estate market dropped out on him. I mean, he made millions, and the bottom of the real estate market dropped out on him. And then he had mafia people coming after him because he borrowed a lot of money to get into buying properties and stuff. So he had all these properties and stuff, and he's doing really well. And this was way back, 30 years ago, man. And when the market dropped out, everything was at a high. Everybody was making bank, and then it dropped out, and then all the houses went down. And yeah, he ate it. So he went into, after that, he went into a precious metals business. Now, I might say and add that Don Carpenter here, who was my stepdad, he was kind of a shady dude, man. Okay, he was always trying to steal other people's businesses from him. And, at the end, right now, he lives in Chicago, and he owns an ice company. So, I mean, he was so deep into the mafia at one time that he had to take my whole family, my mother, my sister, and all of them. I was grown and out of the house, and I was in the military at this point in time. But they had to take, he moved the whole family down to Mexico, and they lived down in Mexico for a year, hiding out, because these guys hung my dad over a balcony by his heels. Now, I never knew that. You know how I learned it? I learned it from an interview that she gave. My sister gave. That's where I heard it from. She told me. Well, she didn't tell me personally because my sister and I, we don't have a personal relationship with one another. She's pretty much hated me all of her life. And Don Carpenter, he used to beat the shit out of me all my life. And he used to beat the shit out of me all my life because when she was very young and she was able to start speaking and talking, she was a little rat thing. She was a snitch. And she'd snitch me off about swimming in the pool when we weren't supposed to be in the pool when nobody's home, or inviting people inside of the house, or smoking cigarettes, or I didn't do something that I was supposed to do. She was like Don Carpenter's little fucking mouthpiece. And I used to get the shit beat out of me because of that. Well, finally, after years of getting my ass whooped, I finally laid back into her and I told her, she keeps ratting me off, I'm going to whoop your ass. And she ratted me off, so I started keeping little marks on the wall. A whole bunch of marks, and I beat my sister's ass to a bloody pulp. I beat her to a bloody pulp. Her rear end was black from top to bottom, side to side. She was really very young when all this took place, and I really can't say whether or not that's why she hates me so much. I don't know what she remembers of our relationship. I really don't. I've never... Other than that, from the age of probably 3 years of age to probably 7 years of age, 8 years of age, I left the house when I was 17. I went into the military service very young. 2 months after my birthday, I started filing the paperwork. I took the ASVAB test the first time, and I didn't pass it. And then I took the ASVAB, and I took it the second time, and then I just barely passed it. Going into the second hardest ASVAB test to get into. You have the Air Force, which is the hardest ASVAB. If I was trying to get in the ASVAB Air Force, I wouldn't have passed the test. And they told me even if I had, with the grade that if I just passed, didn't pass the Naval, that the scores are still high enough for you to either get into the Marines or the Army. So they don't require a lot of intelligence for you. In fact, they don't want intelligent people inside of the military because intelligent people inside of the military question orders. Okay, they want dumb recruits that are trained and will do anything that they say without any conscious thought. They're called order followers. Okay. Let's see. She is a Spanish from her maternal grandfather. That would be my grandfather. French and German descent. Carpenter attended Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas. She was also a part of a song and dance troupe which performed in Las Vegas Valley when she was 9 years old. And I remember all that. Well, actually, I wasn't home. I was in the military service, and I smoked pot pretty much all my life. And that's what I got kicked out of the military service. Reagan was in office during that time. He passed down an order to all commanding officers that anyone that they found that wasn't suitable for the armed forces could be discharged. My case, I was discharged with the general under honorable conditions. And if I stayed out of trouble, then I could have that changed. Well, that used to wear pretty heavy on me because when you're young and you got that hanging over your head, you think your whole life is destroyed because of it. And that's what this world pretty much wants you to do. So I found that kind of odd that the daughter of Christine, a bird sanctuary worker, the only thing, so what did I do? I started thinking, wow, maybe she worked at a place that was called the Bird Sanctuary. So I Googled it. I'm like, is the Bird Sanctuary, was there ever a casino in Las Vegas, Nevada called the Bird Sanctuary? Because I couldn't remember. But no, there was a bird cage. So this is, here, check this out. That's my mother. And that's the way she used to work. And this was her proudest. She loved Clint Eastwood. She got to meet Clint Eastwood. All right. So my mother, this is what she worked as a casino girl all her life until she met my stepdad, Don Carpenter. And then Don Carpenter helped her get into her own businesses and stuff. And she used to build her own clothes for my sister. Okay, so now, I just thought that I'd share a little piece of my life with you. And, you know, this plane of existence, folks, is set up really strange. It's so weird once you come into this reality and start understanding that there is an entity out there, okay? It is a spiritual entity, and it is a negative. It is negative energy, okay? It is a vile entity. It's a vile God. If the Supreme Spirit, look, Exodus chapter 20, verse 3, Bible Hub. If the Supreme God, the Creator, I am the Lord, this Lord here, which is Yahweh, is also Jehovah. Okay, it could be Enki, it could be Yahweh, it could be Enlil, it could be any of the ancient ancestors, okay? If this Lord here, this God is saying, ye shall place no, I'm the one that brought you out of Egypt, you shall have no other gods before me. So look at this. This God here is lowercase God, and it is Elohim, plural of Eloah. And these gods here are specifically used of the Supreme God. So if the Supreme Creator is telling us, the One, the Almighty, the All-Knowing, the Perpetual, the Omnipotent, the one that is always present at all facets, is the Supreme, is one, in telling you that he is one. He's telling you that he's in control, and he's telling you that you're not to have any gods before him. Then what does that tell you? It tells you that other gods exist. Therefore, God can't be one God, can he? I mean, the Supreme Creator is one, and he says he's one, but he can't be, he is one God, but I'm saying he can't be the only God. If this God is telling us, you shall have no other gods before me, then this God is telling you that there are other gods. So other gods exist. Who are they? It's those that are created on the sixth day of creation. They are not the same creation as those that are created later in Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And then Eve was created from the bone marrow. A rib wasn't taken out of a man that was created. It was the marrow. It was a DNA transform. It was almost like a clone. I know Israel hates hearing that. But Israel, you have been led astray as well, man. Okay, this God Yahweh is not the Supreme Spirit. Okay? There's an omnipotent force that is pure love. And that omnipotent force allowed other gods to create a plane of existence. He merely only subcontracted. Remember, Satan is the one that was given time. Given time for how long? 42, right? 4 and 2 months, something like that, 40 and 2 months. So here, it's telling you, then I was given a measuring rod like a staff and was told, go and measure the temple of God, the altar, and count the number of worshipers there, but exclude the courtyard outside the temple. Do not measure it, because it has been given over to the nations. Folks, this is so important to understand. The nations are the Gentile. They're a tribe, the foreign one. Well, what are the foreign ones? Right here, images of the United Nations. These are the foreign ones. They're all foreign nations. Come on, learn how to read the Bible with me, man. I hope you're paying attention. Given to the nations, and they will trample. These nations will trample. Okay, they're the ones that are trampling Israel down, right? Now, you guys have had it worse. Israel has had it worse. Understand, Israel isn't the Gentile race. All of these flags, they are the Gentile races. Okay? They are the United Nations. They are the beast of the field. They are the flights of locusts. They're the ones that control the world. They're the ones that shut this fucking shithole down. My mother took that COVID shot and she died. Okay? I can't stand the governments, folks. I hate the government. Okay? Not just the American government. I hate all governments. Okay? And I hate cops for a reason. Because I realize when cops come into a place when they're young, images of Chris Perry of the Sirius Police Department. Why do I know this guy? He's a fucking dick. He's a chump. Why is he a chump? Because when I filed my paperwork after his officers beat the fucking shit out of me, he said that he didn't find anything out of line in his investigation. Not only that, you can see that he's wearing lieutenant bars. He's not a lieutenant any longer. He's a captain, as you can see. Images of Chris Perry of the Sirius Police Department. He was awarded a captain, and the two officers that beat the shit out of me, well, one of them was retired. He wasn't even a fucking cop. I went back and I found that out later, too, on Facebook. So this lieutenant here was promoted to captain, and the cop that beat the shit out of me, let's see if I don't know if they have Sergeant Grabel. Sergeant Grabel images at the Sirius Police Department. That's not him. This is the guy that fucking beat me right here. Fucking Sirius police officer Vince, I can't think of his last, Hooper. Vince Hooper. This cop, he wasn't even, look, it tells you right here that he was retired. He retired 2 months before he beat the shit out of me. Why did he beat the shit out of me? Because I was in a parking lot talking to people about COVID. I was telling people that things like COVID, spelt backwards, is Davok. And Davok in Hebrew means Daibuk. And a Daibuk is an evil spirit which is capable of moving through a host body. And the word ghost has the word host in it because our bodies are the hosts for these demonite ghosts, these entities. They're the ones that are controlling your body, like an insect that hijacks another insect. That's what these are. They're parasites. They're worms. They're maggots. It's a system. You understand? So they beat me October 18th, 2020 in a parking lot. All right? I know that this is all over the place, but hey, people got to start learning, man. Look, learn the law. You understand that? I paid for these so I can hand these out to police. Well, as soon as my dad passes away, I'm hitting to the road, man. I'm going to be engaging with law enforcement officer, and I'm going to be trying to make some changes and close this gap, this hole that exists between the masses and the department, because you have a they and them, and it's them against us. You understand that? Always invoke your Fifth Amendment right not to be asked questions. You understand that? Invoke the right to remain silent is a Fifth Amendment right. When you are pulled over, the cops are not your friends. They are investigating you. They're investigating to see if you've been drinking. They're investigating to see if you've robbed the store. They're investigating to see if you've pulled out of a bar and you might be on drugs or something. They're not your friends. They make income by taking you to jail. Do you understand that? They don't make money when they don't take people to jail. So let's jump into this lesson, Deuteronomy 23, exclusion from the assembly. No one who has been emasculated by crushing or cutting may enter the assembly of the Lord. Right there in your face. In other words, if you cut your junk off, you are not to enter the assembly of the Lord. You will not reach no kingdom of heaven cutting your nuts off your body. That's for damn sure. No one born of a forbidden marriage, nor any of their descendants may enter the assembly of the Lord, not even in the 10th generation. No Ammonite or Moabite or any of their descendants may enter the assembly of the Lord, not even in the 10th generation. Excuse me, I thought that the Amorites were wiped off the face of the earth. Wasn't that what Israel was supposed to do? Well, clearly they weren't wiped off the earth, were they? Clearly they've always been here. Clearly it's the Gentile that have always been in control on this plane of existence. And I honestly don't know. I've never seen Israel in power or in control. And if they are in power and they are in control, then they are empowering control behind the lines. You understand that? Behind the lines. Right here. These are behind the lines, folks. Okay? Not here, not these people here in the assembly. If Israel is controlling the world right now, they're behind the lines. They're in these rooms back here, behind the scenes, looking down at these. They're puppets. They're dirty, rabid dog puppets, diseased with all kinds of, all various, I can't even think. I get so pissed off, man. I can't even talk. So, Israel, it's time to wake up. If any of this is true, if this Bible is true, and I don't believe that this Bible is really fully true. I believe that there's parts in it that are true. I believe that there are two different races, and I believe that one race was created at the time superior to the Gentile race, and then the Gentile race conned your ass, and then your superiorness over the Gentile race, you became just like us. And that's what Satan said. He said that he could make you just, that you guys were absolutely no better than us, the Gentile, who are out, fornicating and committing adultery and going to war and murdering, and people in their homes committing pedophilia, parents raping their own children, putting their daughters on the streets, becoming prostitutes, bikers, Hell's Angels that bang their own daughters and stuff. Yeah, they say that they don't, but they do. Okay? Where do you think all that evil shit comes from? Huh? It doesn't just come from the Hell's Angels. It comes from the politicians. It comes from the corrupted officials. It comes from the drug lords. It comes from those that do sex trafficking. There's all kinds of people that are in this. This is a business on this plane of existence. It's a perpetual, ongoing business. So how do we end something so big, huge? I can't think. Normally I could spit out 50 words. Humongous. I'm stuck with a little two words. So, they were supposed to be wiped off the face of the earth. For they did not come to meet you with bread and water on your way when you came out of Egypt. And they hired Balaam, son of Beor, from Pathor in Aram Naharaim, to pronounce a curse on you. However, the Lord your God would not listen to Balaam, but turned the curse into a blessing for you, because the Lord your God loves you. Do not seek a treaty of friendship with them as long as you live. Now, there you go, right there, folks. This is why these chapters are so huge. Okay, do not seek a treaty of friendship with them as long as you live. Because, look, you must understand this, man. This is so big. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, Bible Hub. As soon as you guys can start understanding that this God here in the beginning, all right, is not supreme. This God here, Elohim, is a plural of Eloah, and it is a gods. The other gods that I mentioned at the very beginning of this lesson, that is used of a supreme God. This God here is used of a supreme God. It's this God in the beginning, this God that is used of the supreme God, created the heaven and earth. So who would I say it is? This is why I know that people that love me, like my sister Gravy Train, she's probably upset that I'm saying this, but I'm never going to turn back from it, because it's telling you right there. It's right in your face. This God that created the heavens and earth was used of a supreme God. The supreme God didn't create this plane of existence. The supreme God is spirit. He is outside of time. He is outside of space, and he's outside of matter. Okay? It's something else that created this plane of existence. It was something else that was used to create this plane of existence. If you have this supreme God here that's saying you are not to worship any idols, Genesis chapter 27, Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, Bible Hub. This is the same God. So God here, Elohim, again, plural of Eloah, gods in the ordinary sense, was used of the supreme creator to create a man in this God's image, because an image, the supreme creator, this one's an idol. Yeah. And this one here is the God that created the heaven and the earth. Now, people are angry with me because they say that I'm giving too much credit to that. I'm saying that this God here is the devil. Okay? Because there was a falling away. And when is the falling away? The falling away was in the beginning. So once you understand that it was evil that was permitted, it was evil that was used of the supreme creator, that was allowed to create this plane of existence, if you're still hanging here and listening to the truth. Put a spirit in the column. I love the spirit of truth, a spirit. Okay? You don't worship or say amen. Amen is giving praise to Amun-Ra. It's another freaking God. All right? That's why it's put at the end of it, that you are trapped at every angle, every word I'm teaching you. This is a split tongue language. You are being trapped. It's time to wake up from your little delusional state. The flesh is not real. This God Elohim is not the supreme. He is not the supreme. Well, who's the supreme? The Spirit of truth, the living God, not the one that wants to be the God of the dead. Okay? So this is why one God is telling you, do not seek a treaty of friendship with them as long as you live, because they were created evil. You understand that? Right here, this is evil that's being created. It's a phantom. A phantom is a ghost. It's an illusion. An illusion is a false impression of reality. It's a resemblance, which means carbon, 666, hence a representative figure. This image, this man created in an image, is an idol. And the supreme, this God here, the supreme God, is saying, you shall not worship any graven images. So now you know that this God Elohim and this God here, Elohim, are the same God. It was Elohim that created a man in an image. And then you have Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, Bible Hub. Then the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed the breath of life. Life. Okay? This is your life. Okay? The first one's created in an image. And an image is a ghost. And a ghost is the spirit of the dead. Okay? That first one created is an illusion. This plane of existence isn't real. All these hoes shaking their ass and putting their pussies and their tits out on TikTok, they're not real. Okay? They are demons. Okay? They're these freaking parasites right here. Well, I'm sorry. I had to clean my computer off the other day. I erase everything about every 2 months or so, man. And then when I do that, I lose all my files and shit. And I forgot that I did that. So I can't pull up the pictures. But what I was going to show you was those babies in the pods. Here, watch this. So what I've been talking a lot about lately is technology is what's starting to gonna make children who can't hear where they can hear, and people that are blind make see, and the lame walk, and raise the dead. This was all technology. That's what I'm talking about. So once you come to a realization and understand that there was a lower God that created flesh suits so that it could destroy and kill and beat them down and make them war against each other and use us against one another. It feeds off of that, folks. That's what you got to understand. This energy force feeds off of it. It loves the fear. It loves going to war. It loves shooting bullets at each other and killing one another and blowing body parts off of one another. If you are going to war, then you are a freaking demon. You got a demon seed on you. You understand? If you support your military that goes to war, then you have the politicians, demons on you because you voted them politicians into office. It says, do not despise an Edomite. Well, hold on. It says, do not seek a treaty of friendship with them as long as you live. And then it turns right around and says, do not despise an Edomite, for the Edomites are related to you. Well, holy shit. Well, then who are we talking about seeking a treaty with? Come on, put it down there and come on. Somebody with all the wisdom in the world, somebody correct me. Put it down in the comment section. Who are you not to make a treaty with the rest of your lives? I thought it was the Gentile. The Gentile are the Edomites. How can the Edomites be related? Because we've been crossbreeding with God's chosen children since their beginning, since their induction into this plane of existence. The minute they ate from that apple, they fell from spiritual grace. They didn't die physically in the physical world. They died spiritually. And they were now fighting with the sight of their nakedness. Maybe right away, lust, desire. Wow, what am I looking at here? Holy shit, man, that's beautiful. It wasn't like that before. That's why they never noticed their nakedness before, because they were spiritual beings. It wasn't until they ate the apple of knowledge of good and evil. Therefore, good must exist even in the evil that God allowed to create itself in an image. Somewhere in that, people like me, I wasn't good. I was a shithead all the way to the age of 53. And then I really started seeking something outside of myself after the last relationship I was in. It was just such a horrendous relation, complete bliss. Everything that a man would want in a relationship for 6 months, it was complete heaven. And then, bam, her freaking light switch came on, and the fucking torment and the nails and the claws and the teeth and the blood and the venom and the hate and everything came out of her, out of fucking nowhere, man. And that's the way these demons are. It's just so weird. When the scales come off your eyes, folks, it's so scary because now you can't escape it. You have a choice. I can go back into the world if I want. I could take all the money that I've saved and work my ass off for and start going out to the bars and drinking and partying, trying to look for another girlfriend and stuff. And I guarantee you within a year, all the money that I've saved, that woman would have me broke and busted off my ass again, living paycheck to paycheck. I'll never in my life allow that happen to me again. Please, young kids, listen to what I'm telling you. Don't marry a woman that's got tattoo sleeves all over her. Don't marry a woman that puts any tattoos on her body, okay? Your body ain't meant to have any tattoos. If you didn't come out of the womb with the tattoo, then you're not to fucking pigment your skin with any ink. It's that simple. It tells you so in Leviticus. Okay. Uncleanliness in the camp. When you are encamped against your enemies, keep away from everything impure. Why would you be encamped around them? This is what I mean about why would your supreme creator the Israel's creator, why would he even bring you around the Gentile? Why would he keep you intermixed with them? He's telling you to stay away from them, and then you're encamped around them and everything. This is what I mean. This Bible makes contradictions, and when people read it and they tell me, oh, this Bible is a perfect manuscript, there is nothing wrong with it, you're a fucking idiot, man. You don't know how to read shit. I'm tired of people telling me what this Bible's saying. Clearly, I'm reading it to you, and I'm showing you the contradictions in it and things that don't make sense at all, man. Okay? If one of your men is unclean because of a nocturnal emission, he is to go outside the camp and stay there. But as evening approaches, he is to wash himself, and at sunset he may return to the camp. Okay, relieve yourself. As part of your equipment, have something to dig with, and when you relieve yourself, dig a hole and cover up your excrement. For the Lord your God moves about in your camp to protect you and to deliver your enemies to you. Your camp must be holy, so that he will not see among you anything indecent and turn away from it. You know, when I think of this, I think I cleaned carpets for the longest time, and installed carpets, was a carpet cleaner and installer. And I went into Mexicans' homes, and this is the God's honest truth, that they wipe their rear ends and they throw their tissue in a trash can rather than flushing the paper down the toilet. And, you know, when I think about it, you know, as disgusting as it sounds, if the trash can was covered up and it didn't fucking stink or anything like that, why would you want to flush fucking toilet paper, wiped ass in your fucking drinking water and stuff? It makes pretty good sense to me. Your camp must be holy, so that it will not see among you anything indecent and turn away from you. The miscellaneous laws. If a slave has taken refuge with you, do not hand them over to their master. Let them live among you wherever they like and in whatever town they choose. Do not oppress them. So, what slave? Is this a Hebrew slave, Israelite slave, a Gentile slave, an Egyptian slave? Which slaves are we talking about? Because we're all oppressed in slavery, folks. You think that paycheck, working for a paycheck and stuff, when these guys are the ones that created money, and money doesn't mean shit in this reality, and that's why they laugh at you. You work your ass off for them for money. If everybody in America just turned away from the government and said, fuck you, man, we're all heading out to the forest, man. We're gonna build little stick huts. We're gonna dig holes in the ground and shit in the ground from now on, man, and cover it up. That's what we're gonna do. You know, you destroy them. You destroy this world. You destroy evil, because that's where evil has you, is in the cities. Okay. If you're out in the middle of the wilderness all by yourself, man, there ain't anybody have any kind of power over you, huh? If you had a food source, a water source, and a little stick hut with a little bed that you could lay in out in the... Hey, I would take it all day long. I would live in one of those little 10x6 shelters that they're building up in Las Vegas right now. Those little pod huts, the homeless pod huts. I'm not so proud that I got to live inside of a fucking mansion. I'm not so proud that I got to live in a house. I only need a roof over my head, clothing on my back, and enough food or enough money to sustain me. Outside of that, that's the only thing that money is for. A means to sustain yourself on this plane of existence, because they've turned it in to a shithole. So do not oppress them. No Israelite man or woman is to become a shrine prostitute. You must not bring the earnings of a female prostitute or of a male prostitute into the house of the Lord your God to pay any vows, because the Lord your God detests them both. And let me make a note on this for you as well. Do you understand that people that are gay, like men that are gay, most men that are gay, they're prostitutes. They're just male prostitutes, you know, for other gay men, male prostitutes. Older men are like vultures outside of military camps and stuff, waiting for the young recruits to come out, you know. wanting to get into bed with them and all that nasty shit. You see, I have to come to terms that I don't want to hate the gay community, but I can't help but to hate the gay community because they keep shoving it down my throat. You see, I don't want to know anything about it. I don't want to hear anything about it. I don't want to see it on the television. I don't want to see men holding hands, men kissing one another. I don't want to see women on the beach walking down hand in hand, holding hands with one another and stuff. It is not the natural order of life, all right? A man, no matter how hard you try to place your seed in him, cannot get pregnant. These people that stand in the streets, both sides of these shorts, that Michael Knowles, man, that Charlie Kirk, the other one, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but these on both sides, they push this let's talk about it. It's all about talking about it. It's all about exposing it, making it exposed. They want to talk about it. They want it out there because the more you talk about it, the less offensive it becomes to most people. Well, it'll never stop being offensive to me because it's shoved down my throat. I say, if you're gay, keep it in your fucking backyard, man. Keep it in your home. Don't bring it out on the streets. Don't take it out to the fucking bars. Keep your shit at home, man, and let God deal with you at death later, because he's going to hand you your ass. Okay? Now, Jesus, the way Christians will tell you, well, Jesus was love. Jesus was love. He doesn't detest anybody. He wanted us all to love one another equally with one another. Well, what Jesus are you talking about? Because this channel clearly proves to you that duality exists. Just like there's two Adams, there's two Moseses, and there's two Bibles, and there's two Jesuses, and there's two books, and there's two stories, and there's duality. Duality must exist. Do not charge a fellow Israelite interest, but it's okay to charge a Gentile, right? Whether on money or food or anything else that may earn interest. Interest. So now we're talking about interest. We're talking about slavery. What is this God? If a slave comes to you, harbor him, give him safety. Well, that sounds wonderful. Well, what about the people that enslaved? Why are there slaves on this world? Where did slavery come from? When was it created? Oh, it was created in the very beginning. Slavery existed the minute you bit into that freaking apple and you turned your eyes from God and you turned your eyes to the material world. Because Eve, what did she saw? That the fruit looked good and was pleasant for wisdom. She did there take of and eat the fruit, and her eyes indeed were opened. And she gave to her husband the fruit, and which he did take as well. And he took of the fruit. Yeah. Do not charge a fellow Israelite interest, in other words. Man, this whole country, when you're walking with Jesus and you're not reading the Bible and stuff and you think all your sins and shit are covered and stuff, you don't see any of this stuff. You don't think anything of it. Nothing. You just don't think of it. Right? But now, with the scales off your eyes, everything that we're being told not to do in this Bible is being done on this plane of existence, which tells you that this plane of existence is the plane of resistance that rebelled against God. Now, understand that when Satan fell from heaven, he fell from heaven spiritually, given great power for a time. Give me a second. I can't make this Bible any simpler for people to understand. Okay, I can't. They worshiped the dragon who had given authority to the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like the beast? And who can wage war against the beast? Well, what are they talking about? Genesis chapter 1, verse 25, Bible Hub. This, God made the beasts of the earth, each according to their kinds. This These are your beasts of the field, each according to their kind. Images of the Catholic Church and their congregation. These are the beasts of the field, each according to their kind. These are the beasts of the field. Images of Vatican Hall. Look, that's the inside of the Vatican Hall. It's a serpent. The Catholic Church is the serpent race. This is this serpent race. There's Jesus right here. Look at that. That's a serpent. You get that? Can you see it? Here. This is Jesus's face here. Right? And then his hair flowing is a serpent. You can't see that shit? No. Christian, you can see it. You just deny it. You don't want to see it. You want to go with that fairy tale story that Jesus is going to save you from your sins, man. This is the Catholic Church, and they are a vile, vile nation of Gentiles. You know, the saddest thing about it is a lot of these people really think that they're doing right. They have no clue at all the God that they are worshiping is the frickin' devil. Not an ounce of clue at all. And they're all doomed to this reality, the immortal life of this realm to be rebirthed over and over and over. I've never believed in reincarnation until I started reading outside of the Bible. Started reading other stuff. And I can prove that reincarnation exists. I know it exists. You know why? Because the Bible tells us that when you die, you're going to raise again. That's reincarnation. Both the Gentile and the Hebrew will be raised together. The wheats will be separated from the tares. That's a resurrection. Okay, if you're being resurrected, then that is reincarnation. Now, the key here is, what is your destination going to be? What is your final destination going to be? Is this world here a soul trap? A perpetual soul trap that will never end? Or will it end? The Bible tells us that this plane of existence will end. So, and that when it does end, it's going to be taken out within an hour of its time. Okay? So I prove without a doubt that the Catholic race is the serpent race. The Christian race is the 666 race, and that's who tells you they're both tied together, because all religions basically come from the Roman Catholicism. Do not charge a fellow Israelite interest. You may charge a foreigner interest, but not a fellow Israelite, so that the Lord your God may bless you in everything you put your hand to in the land you are entering to possess. Well, earlier, way back, I don't remember what chapter it is, but God says that usury is an abomination. So that's, to me, questionable. You know, okay, don't do usury. Don't do usury on your people, but do usury on other people. Isn't that the same thing that the banks do? Don't the banks use usury? So the Gentile are underneath of a slave monetary system being, the usury in this country, man, and the taxes, if you understood how deep and dark it is, and that you simply are a slave basically working for nothing. Because I can guarantee you 90% of the people on this plane of existence, when they die, they have nothing. They have nothing to give to their families, to their children, to their friends, or anyone else, man. 90% of the people do not have anything to give anybody at the end of their lives. Why? Because it all goes back to the government. Everything in the end goes back to the government. This is why they have so much money. This is why money doesn't mean anything to them. This is why land doesn't mean anything. How can somebody come along and draw up a line and say you can purchase land when the Spirit, supposedly the God of this plane of existence, had given us all the land? Because it was a trap. Okay? You're starting to realize now, oh, Satan lies, right? He says that you can have this land. He says that you can live forever. He said that you could have a mate, and that you could produce offspring, and you could have children, and you could build a kingdom of your own, and you could be worshiped. That's the whole thing. This is what the Spirit is saying, not to worship others. If you make a vow to the Lord your God, do not be slow to pay it. For the Lord your God will certainly demand it of you, and you will be guilty of sin. So don't make any promises to this Lord, at all that you can't keep. Okay, but if you refrain from making a vow, and believe me, folks, I try to refrain from asking the Spirit of God for anything other than salvation. That's pretty much about all I pray for. I don't pray for wealth. I pray for people to wake up. I pray for souls that He allows me to save souls. I pray for my salvation. I don't pray for material gain. I don't pray for women anymore. I don't pray for relationships anymore. I don't pray for, a good job anymore. I don't pray for any of that shit anymore. I just pray for Him to protect me, to guide me, to lead me, and give me what it is for me to get through the rest of my life with food in my belly, clothes on my back, and I don't care about the size of the room over my head. It just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's a stick hut. As long as I'm dry and it's warm, I could care less. But if you refrain to making a vow, you will not be guilty. Whatever your lips utter, you must be sure to do, because you made your vow freely to the Lord your God with your own mouth. So that means that something would have to be omnipotent. But if this God, this is the God that comes along and He destroys all the languages. He changes all the languages because everybody what? Everybody was in unison then. God could see the power of us as an ant farm, one single ant farm working in unity together. So this God comes along and He destroys all the languages because He didn't want what? He didn't want one people, all serving one purpose, all in unity. The power in us as creations, all in unity as one, would be so blissful. War wouldn't exist anymore. Hate wouldn't exist anymore. Death, perpetual death and war, it would all go away if we all saw ourselves equal as one. And that's what the slave masters have done. They have exalted themselves above us. You cannot vote these demons into office, or you harbor their demons that are on them. If you vote a man into office, then the demons that are on that man that are in office now have power over you because you voted that man and gave up your power to him. If you enter the neighbor's vineyard, you may eat all the grapes you want, but do not put any in your basket. If you enter your neighbor's grain field, you may pick kernels with your hand, but you must not put a sickle to their standing grain. Right, that turned out to be a little bit longer than I want, but these are great chapters. I love Deuteronomy. It really starts exposing the darkness of this world, man, and it makes you really start questioning who these gods are. These ancient ancestors, these Anunnakis, who are they all? Were they good? Were they evil? Folks, it's time you must read this stuff yourself, okay? Don't take anything that I say at face value. I mean, read it yourself, You determine. The book is for you. It's not for you and anybody else to read. The book was meant for you to read alone yourself. This is how you get knowledge. You can't get, I know the book is a difficult book to understand, and some people need help, but Christians tell you all the time, man, don't lean on your own understanding. Lean on the minister's understanding. No, lean on the Spirit of truth. That's who I tell you to lean on, the Spirit of truth. John chapter 4, verse 24, Bible Hub. There you go. So God is spirit, and this is a magistrate. It's a deity God, especially the supreme divinity. Okay, this is a divine divinity, supreme that is used. It's a magistrate. So magistrate is a man. So therefore we know that this can't be God if it's a man, right? Can't be God if it's a man. Images of magistrates. There you go. Your magistrates are judges. These are the people that consider themselves gods. So I hope this helps you. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth, the living God. Blessings to the chosen children that love God, the Supreme Living One. This is White Raptor News Ministries.